Hi, good evening, everyone. How are you today? My name is Shubhika Singh. I'm a psychologist by profession, and I've been working with individuals, empowering them for over a decade. I help people deal with depression, any personal issues, relationship issues, anything that's sort of holding them back in life, or they just need a safe space to vent. This is what I do for a living. So, today I have for you a very interesting talk, and I'm going to make it interactive with a few exercises. So stay with me and learn how to build your self confidence and radiate. So, having confidence means trusting your own abilities and also what you're capable of doing. When you have confidence in yourself, you have a higher chance of experiencing new things in life. You'll be more willing to take up challenges and work towards creating opportunities for yourself. But what's also known is that everyone struggles with confidence issues at some point or the other. But what I want to tell you today is that nobody is born with confidence. Confidence is a skill that you can build in yourself. So, in today's interaction, I've got for you a very simple seven powerful steps that can help you lift your confidence. But before we get there, I want to sort of talk a little bit about what does the low self-confidence voice speak in our heads. It's not something that anyone else can hear, but it's something that we hear between our ears. It's that constant little mental chatter that goes on. So typically statements such as, "You're so unattractive. You don't deserve the promotion. You're going to mess up the presentation today. You're not good enough." So, by being low on confidence, you're essentially putting things off to later and more often, not really acting on them at all. So, for example, asking your crush out on a date. If you feel unattractive, that's probably not going to happen because you feel that he might reject you. So trying out for the dance team or the debate team, or talking to your boss about your promotion. So do you see where I'm going with this? So low self-confidence makes you underestimate yourself and can literally eat away life planned ahead of you. It can be so crippling, especially when the self-doubt gets played over and over and over again in your head without a way out. And it doesn't matter if these doubts are something that's coming from within or if it's a result of what other people have told you over time. But the longer these doubts fester in your mind, it will prevent you from feeling good about yourself as well as performing at your best potential. So, before we get on with the 7 step plan, I want you to take a moment and get a piece of paper and write on that piece of paper, so a blank piece of paper. And I want you to write on that piece of paper on a scale of 1 to 10. What do you think your level of confidence is right now? With 1 being the lowest and 10 being the highest. So take a moment and write it. What do you think your level of confidence is right now? Okay, so you've written that down, I presume. So let's unravel my 7 step framework called Sparkle to build your confidence. So once in last year, I was working with this young girl who came to me after her board exam saying she was very depressed over her results and felt, there wasn't anything much for her to look forward to. And as she sat across me on my sofa in my chamber, her shoulders were slouched down, her eyes were swollen because I could tell she had been crying a lot and she had a bunch of tissues with her and just, pretty much had her eyes looking down and just had a very sad and pulled down energy. And when we got talking, she revealed to me that she got a 96%. And as we talked, we discovered that it wasn't about the grade that she was sad at, but it was more about the number of girls ahead of her. And there were two girls on that list who had never ever done as well as her in school. And they also had other co curricular activities, whereas she had only laser sharp focus only on her academics the past year. And she felt miserable thinking about those other people who were in front of her. But had she got 96% and stopped, that would have been fine. So the problem here isn't the result in itself, which is the mark, but it's actually the comparison. It's in relation to other people that was impacting how she was feeling about herself and what she thought life has in store for her. So my first step of sparkle, and we're starting way down, is E for end comparison in your mind. So when you compare yourself to another person, you're looking at being another version of that person instead of being your unique self. So let's say you're a Instagram blogger and you have about 19,000 followers. And here you are at one of these marketing events for bloggers, and you're put together in a group with five or six other bloggers, and you find that they've bunched you up together as people who've started the journey at the same time. Now, in that group, there's someone who's at 1,300, there's someone who's at 15,000, there's someone who's at 11,000. So you feel pretty good about yourself because you're on top of the number. But imagine that suddenly that there's a new person who joins your group who started the same time as you and reveals that they have 220,000 followers. Immediately you're going to feel a certain sink in feeling. You're going to feel bad. And that's going to make you feel like, oh my God, I haven't made it. Is this worth me putting so much energy into this blogging career? It might make you give up altogether. But what these feelings of low self confidence at that point is also going to do is going to make you forget to look at all the other important details that goes into building an account to have that many followers. So some of it that I'm aware of that gets a lot of traction is entertainment accounts, accounts with great fashion reviews or makeup tutorials. A lot of accounts have paid followers. They have like marketing geniuses working to build their followers. Now, all of these aspects will get ignored when your confidence gets hit and you only look at it from one point of view, that you're not good enough or that other people are doing way better than you. And now, when I'm saying this, it doesn't mean that you need to be blinded, but it is to be aware of the difference between comparison and inspiration. I'm going to say that again. It's to be aware of the difference between comparison and inspiration. So comparing yourself to another person is a surefire way to start feeling really crummy. So try to focus on your goals and your achievements rather than measuring them against someone else's. Nobody needs this kind of damage or pressure on their self worth. So, speaking of achievements, you need to remember every little or big one in your journey. In your journey. So, perhaps think of the time when you had 1,200 followers or 120 followers, and then you worked your way up to 19,000. Think of that time when you studied all night for an exam and then you aced it the next day. Think about the time when you went through loads and loads of practice interviews and then got that job that you had your eyes on. Or the time when you were able to cheer up a friend who was depressed after a breakup. So celebrate these little, small, or big wins. It's a great way for you to start building confidence and feel great about yourself. The mind has a tendency to look at all those things that we don't have, to look at all those areas that we're falling short of. But what you need to do is look at and focus on your little or big wins. All right. The next point is of sparkle, which is K, is know your power. And now I want all of you to hear this very, very carefully because it's so important in us recognizing our strengths and who we truly are. So, what I want you to think of right now is all the compliments and praises that you have ever received. Think about those times when you have been appreciated. So you look beautiful today. Or someone praised you for the effort you put in towards a cause. Appreciated for your relationship advice. Appreciated for the amazing dish you cooked up. Or appreciated you for the presentation you delivered and one for your team. Or for just telling you that you've been an amazing friend. So just think of this for a moment. Yeah. And I can probably imagine a lot of you have a beautiful smile in your face thinking about these things, right? Yeah. And now what I want you to do is, on that piece of paper that you have in front of you, which is a blank sheet of paper, I want you to later on, you may not have this with you right now, but later on, get a picture of yourself, a hard copy. You can print one out in your computer. It doesn't have to be the best quality, but stick it right in the center of this paper. Or you can even do a digital version of the same exercise on an app which allows you to write. So maybe something like PixArt or whatever else. And what I want you to do is write down these compliments and these praises that you've heard about yourself. So I'll share with you things that I've written for myself on one of these sheets, which I had done some time ago. I am strong. I stand up for what's right. I'm worthy of love. I am good enough. I'm a loved family member. I'm an amazing friend. So, whatever it is that you've heard about yourself or you feel about yourself, I want you to look and remind yourself of those things and write it down on this paper. And what this is going to do is going to remind you that you are the center of your universe, that you are special, and that you have immense inner power. And what you need to do is read this and look at this paper every single day to tap into your inner power. And when you begin to do this, you are not going to need someone else's validation any longer. Right. Okay. So coming to the next part of Sparkle is coming to revamp your space or your style. A huge part of our confidence also comes from how we feel about the way we look. Now, it's not about having good looks or it's not about being beautiful or gorgeous. It's about what we think about our looks. So, and we know for a fact that a lot of good looking people, a lot of famous people, popular people who have it all on the outside struggle with how they feel about themselves. So sometimes, what you really need to do is revamp this style, revamp your space so that you get that fresh feel, you feel rejuvenated. Now, I'm not saying to go buy a new wardrobe, but what I'm saying is more to change things around to give it a fresh feel. So a simple white shirt can be worn in innovative ways to make it look different. You can tuck it in, you can tie it up, you can throw on a jacket and overlay or leave it out. What you can also do is play around with your makeup or your hairstyle. A lot of fashion blogs and makeup tutorials are there on Instagram and on various blogs to give you some fab ideas. So use this time right now during the lockdown to really look at how do you want to sort of up your game. What you can also do is like the style is not your thing. You can look at revamping your space. So maybe just your bedroom to start with. Start organizing your stuff and decluttering. And this lockdown is a great time to do that. You can shift your bed around, play with lights and lamps, move your tables, your wall hangings. Adding a new dimension can help you feel rejuvenated, can help you feel like, this new environment around you is making you feel more upbeat. And trust me, when you do this, you are going to feel it. You're going to feel more positive, you're going to feel more upbeat. And you will notice the moment you feel upbeat and positive, you will see that impacting your level of confidence. So sometimes working outwards to inwards can be very powerful to give someone that much needed boost, right? Okay. So coming to what I was talking about earlier, the mental chatter that is constantly with us. It's something that's with us passively going on in our mind, right? I'm sure you relate to it. It's constantly going on. Something is going on at the back of our mind. And, typically a lot of these thoughts that are going on is often made up of irrational, exaggerated negative thoughts about ourselves. So that voice in your head is essentially telling you that you aren't good enough. And if you start believing it, it can be quite convincing because it's going on passively. So typically statements such as, I'm going to embarrass myself in front of everyone today. My results will be terrible. I know I won't make it to any cutoff in college. Or I'm not good enough for him to like me. You're unattractive. Nobody will ever want to date you. So all of these thoughts, the more and more this voice goes on in your mind, can be very convincing. This other client I worked with, she was a very vivacious girl. And she was very hardworking, very driven. And in her organization, her manager relied on her heavily because she was so responsible and she would always be there. Like, one of those, your team members, one of those people who's always got your back. She was one of those. She would do all the back end work. She would get the presentations ready, do all the market analysis, etc., but would just never present to the clients or to top management because her inner voice would tell her she will mess up or she can't speak publicly. There's someone better than her, so she should let them do it. And eventually, what she realized was that other people were getting applauded for her efforts. And this was costing her promotions and salary raises. So we worked together on building her confidence, on building her self esteem. And you know what? Today, she's the VP of a major division in a large multinational company. So, had she not worked on herself, maybe she wouldn't be where she is today. So, a huge part of working on self confidence is also to listen to your active self talk rather than listening to that passive self talk in your head. So choose what you want to hear and say it to yourself. That's exactly what activating your self talk is. And how do you find the easiest statement for the self talk? Is typically say to yourself what you would say to a friend in that same situation. Right. You would never tell your friend that they can't speak publicly. You would never tell your friend that they don't deserve to be liked by a boy. You will never tell your friend that they will fail or their results are going to be below any cutoff mark. Exactly. So you need to activate that self talk that you would say to a friend and say it to yourself. And sometimes, I find, with people who had a lot of difficulty um, in terms of experiences or they've gone through some very adverse situation that has resulted in this low self-esteem and self-confidence, thinking positive things about themselves can get quite difficult. So it can really help to use like a thought transformation tracker just so that you can be more aware and cognizant of what you're thinking and choose what you would rather be thinking. And you can email me for one of these trackers if you don't have one or can't find one on the internet. I'll be happy to share it with you. My email is shubhika at innercraft.com, and that's craft with a K. So coming to the next part of our sparkle is again using our posture And what is our posture? Which is basically a confident body posture, a confident body language, which is, think about a person that you consider to be very confident. And for a moment, think about their body language, their posture. What are they giving out? What is the message you're getting by just looking at them? And the few things you will notice in any person is exuberating confidence is that they walk with their head high, they have their shoulders upright, and their back is straight, and their hands are in one place. They're not fidgeting. And I want you all to sit up right now and feel this. Sit upright, put your shoulders high, shoulders back, and your head high, and see how you're feeling from out to in. You will feel an instant boost of energy, and this is a great technique to use when you're really feeling very, very slumpy and you're not feeling great about yourself. And this is also a fantastic technique to use before a presentation, before a job interview, or before talking to that boy you've been planning to for a long time. So, anytime you need a quick, instant boost of confidence, use this technique and feel it, right? And now, last part of Sparkle is supportive squad. Now, having the supportive squad around you is so, so important. It is all those people who uplift you. The people you hang out with should be your cheerleaders. And of course, you should be theirs as well. But not in the way that your friends let you be silly without calling you out. Honesty is also a part of being a supportive person. But those who genuinely make you feel good about yourself and appreciate you for your qualities. The right kind of people can really help you grow, especially the ones who believe in your skills, believe in your talents, believe in your ambition. They're the ones who you will find supportive. And your squad are people that you can choose. So think about your supportive squad and just make sure you reach out to those people the next time you're feeling low and need someone to give you a pep talk. All right. And what you also want to do is people who put you down, leave you out of conversations, or trigger off negative thinking about yourself, avoid them as much as you can. Also, with social media, a lot of accounts make us feel that way. So you have the power to unfollow those accounts. So do it now. You don't need to feel terrible about yourself by looking at someone's picture or looking at someone's account that's not making you feel good or is spinning you into a full negative thinking and self-doubt spiral, right? So this is Sparkle for you. Supportive squad, posture, active self talk, revamp your style or space, know your power, little or big wins, and lastly, ending comparison. So, everyone struggles with confidence issues at some time or the other. But remember, like I said, confidence is a skill that you can build in yourself. The more time and energy you consistently devote to it, the stronger it will get. And consistency is really, really important here. So if your self confidence issues interfere with your work, your social life, your education, you may want to seek professional help of a psychologist or counselor because sometimes this low self confidence stems from a bigger issue, like traumatic events from the past, or maybe from being bullied, or maybe from being picked on, or not feeling included enough. And I hope today you will sparkle your way to being the best version of yourself. I hope you will sparkle your way from feeling amazingly confident about yourself and go out there and tap into every opportunity that you've held yourself back from so far. So I'm going to just check and see if there are any questions on the live. Okay, it's finally come up. Um, okay, thank you for these lovely compliments and feedback for the session. Someone has shared fabulous insights about the difference between comparison and inspiration. Someone has written, absolutely loved it. It's so helpful to focus on your achievements. And there are lots of loves and lots of emojis and great talk and direction. Love the optimism. Okay. Thank you. I'm so glad you enjoyed the session today and Sparkle. So I'm going to show that one last time. And for all of you to see, oh, sorry, for all of you to see what Sparkle is. And maybe you might want to write that down so you always have a little bit of sparkle with you wherever you go. Bye.